The transformation of our west side garden begins today.
And we are starting strong by installing a pondless waterfall. Welcome to our garden. We are super excited to share with you the very first steps in the transformation of the west side. You may remember it started with a hedge of limelight hydrangeas. We have since removed those and given those to friends because, as you know, as gardeners evolve, their gardens evolve. And so part of the journey for this west side border is adding in a water feature. And we are starting with that today. It's going to be a great anchor point. We're thrilled to be working with Deckers to make this pondless waterfall happen. So let's take a look back a few weeks ago when Alan first came over to walk us through the process. So this is the west side.
Yeah.
And all of this is going to be brand new right here. So this is like 85 feet of mixed border that's coming in with Japanese maples and evergreens from Isley, tons of shrubs from Proven Winners Color Choice Shrubs, lots of perennials from Proven Winners, roses, all the good stuff. But in my mind, and maybe you have a better idea, I'm thinking something like right here. And the reason why I initially was drawn to this area was so that it pulls you from the patio this way, and it also draws you up the west side, because I feel like it gives you a destination to go to, but also pulls you around that corner.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I always like it that, you know, sometimes you can hear the sound of water before you see it. So it's intriguing. Like you got to try to find that water. And then especially like with sitting areas in the back side of the house with all the windows, you're going to be able to catch glimpses of that through the branches of the plants that you have here. So, I mean, I agree with you. Plus it's got a nice little natural bump out here that would kind of help it blend a little bit better into the garden.
All right, so here's a stick to draw or describe or whatever you want to do, because I'm thinking about how this is going to fit here, how the fence is going to play into it, how big things are going to go out, like how much room around it is going to be purely for the pond.
Okay, so this is my thoughts. First of all, we have this nice PVC fence and we don't want to damage it in any way. So what we're going to do is we're going to come out into here. And right about in here, we're going to start some boulders so we can create that elevation I was talking about in order to get the right look so it's not a volcano. So, you know, boulders will kind of come out into here, however it might be. We'll get it so that way there's no pressure, like I said, and we won't damage that fence. And then the way I'm seeing this, because of the look back here, what I'd like to do is probably start it here, and we can wrap it back around this way and then come back again. And then on this side again, it's going to be organic, so this could pop out like that and then come back and then come back into here. Now the one thing we got to remember is we have to have room for a reservoir in this section. So our reservoirs actually start out as a rectangle like this. But the nice part about that is once we create this, we can build on this. So it'll all look nice and smooth and natural. It will not look boxy when it's all done.
So the total, what do you think, 8 by 8, 10 by 10?
Well, I think, yeah, we're probably roughly like 8.5 feet here. We'll probably use up, obviously, all this. And then, you know, basically whatever you're going to allow me to use up of your garden space is where it's going to be.
Today's the day the installation is going to happen. We're here back again with Alan, the Aquascape Artist of the Year, of course, from Deckers. So take it away. Tell us again, what's happening today?
Well, I can't wait to add a water feature to your garden because it looks like you guys just about have everything but the sound of water. I know you got a fountain over there, but that's good on that side. Let's add a little bit of sound on this side, somewhere where the birds can get in and splash around and have some activity. Everybody always says, I want a waterless pond. What they actually mean is they want a pondless waterfall, because a pondless waterfall, all your water storage is underneath the ground, so it doesn't get hit by ultraviolet light. And you don't have a lot of that green gunk that sometimes you get with a pond with a lot of fish and nutrients. So what the exciting part about this is very, very low maintenance, because let's face it, you have enough maintenance here, don't you?
Yeah, we really do. But of course, as you're talking, I'm thinking, can we still add plants to a pondless waterfall?
Absolutely. That's the best part, because we can have aquatic plants with this. We're going to have moving water.
That's true. And I keep asking Alan, what's it going to look like? But he kind of has the same response to me. Or that I have to other people when they say, what is your garden going to look like? And we just work organically. It just kind of comes together. Like, I need to see the plants in front of me to make the garden design happen, and you need to see the boulders and rocks, right?
I do.
And the only restrictions we've given him is we want space between the Pondless Waterfall and the fence to be able to plant. And we know that we're putting a Japanese maple kind of at the start of the waterfall. Those are like our 2 restrictions.
So Christopher, this is actually where our pump goes. And the reason that we have this vault is we do not want any of your debris or anything from the fall to get into your pump. So the cool part about this is totally buried. You'll never see any of the components. Our aqua blocks, which you guys are putting together over there, sit here on top of this foot. Your vault is actually at the lowest point of the feature to make sure we get the maximized amount of water.
All right. And it looks like a big boot, which is cracking me up right now. And then the next piece is the waterfall spillway.
So what the waterfall spillway allows us to do, to get all the parts and pieces out of here. This spillway is actually the start of a waterfall, but it's just a diffuser so you don't have that fire hose look.
All right.
You ever see that when you're somewheres and the waterfall just spits out?
Yeah.
So this allows us to put it low, and it allows it to perk up more like a spring so it doesn't look so forced.
All right. That's amazing.
2 different sizes. This comes in a 12-inch. Obviously, this is Aquascape equipment, and then it comes in a 22-inch. So it just depends on what size waterfall.
All right, so you brought both just in case.
You never know, because I know how I am. I always say I'm going to start out small, and it doesn't end up that way. So. This is the work part. The fun part is actually building the waterfall.
Okay.
So we're going to be able to get started right away with that.
I tried to explain it to somebody like it's a fountain, but it's just with rocks and dirt, as opposed to in a contained thing. Like there's the bottom, and then it's going to pump the water up. So it is basically a really, really fancy fountain.
Basically, yes.
We've got boulders. Tell us what's happening next, Alan.
So the way I kind of look at things is I always like to start at the bottom, because like in nature, once we go through like the spring thaw and we get all that heavy rush of water, rocks actually get lodged behind one another. So I like to layer things. So I'm kind of starting out low and going high. And then that way, just like nature intended, the water will get forced behind the rocks and then come over into different waterfalls.
Okay.
So that's the point of this on the bottom. You can see that the pit no longer is going to be square.
Yep.
That we're starting to box it in, and it'll give it a little bit different shape and dimension. This is actually waterfall foam.
Okay.
So what a lot of people don't understand is we get a lot of messages on social media, and they're like, how do you get the water to actually go over the rocks? If you don't use something that seals up the back of it, water will run under and around it.
Okay.
So on the back sides of these, where this crevice is, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run a bead of this foam all the way up in there. That way the water won't scoot around on me. It'll be forced to go over exactly where I want it to.
Interesting.
We got the bottom 2 drops done, and now we're working on a 3rd one. I want to get about 4 waterfalls out of this.
Wow.
So one of the things we're doing is we dug back a little bit to just kind of create some depth and dimension. That way we can have a little pooling area here where the birds and the animals kind of like to go.
Cool.
And then on the last one, what we're going to do is position it a little bit differently. It's going to have to be set back a little bit farther over into here, and it's going to fall more towards your sitting areas.
All right.
And what we're trying to accomplish is a couple towards the sitting areas, a couple towards that are inviting to people that are walking through at different directions.
Wow.
So from this direction, you're going to be able to see this small falls on the bottom plus the one up there by Cater right now. And then coming from that direction is the one we're working on. And then across the way on top.
Wow.
So you always want to think of the different viewing points.
Yeah, this is gonna be awesome.
All right, so this is the hard part because when you're halfway into it, people just think it looks like a bunch of rocks because we're not quite finished. So we do have like 3 waterfalls in right now. We're gonna pop one more in up on the top, and then that'll be the 4th and final. Because as you just said, I have to leave you just a little bit of room for plants.
A lot of bit of room.
See, I could get carried away. If we had enough rock, we'd be already back to the bank. All right, so there's one here.
That one.
Right.
This one here, this pools up, right? So one of my things is that I'd like to do a deep pooling area because the water sounds differently when it falls into a pooling area as opposed to hitting gravel. So that's going to give us a little bit deeper sound there. This one's going to be a little bit shallower and it's going to be more of a ripple type fall. Yeah, so this right here is the waterfall coming through there. It's going to come off of that rock a little bit and then just transition back and give it a little bit more character. Then the final one is going to be up here, which we're building right now.
Okay.
Eric, is this what you were expecting?
This is totally different than what I was expecting, but in a better way. For sure.
I love it.
It's getting filled right now.
So we're already starting to think about plants. And as it turns out, something we already have in our garden is appropriate to put in the water in one of the cool pools. So follow me over here. So over here, we have an iris. It's an iris versicolor called Purple Flame. It's a native, and it has those awesome purple stems and then a really charming purple flower. So we can cut up a few pieces of this and actually submerge it in the water, which I think is gonna look gorgeous. That strappy foliage.
I think so
flowers.
too. He gave us some spots to tuck this in specifically.
Yeah, it's gonna look really awesome.
Wow, it is so like deep sounding.
That's the right word. Like it sounds like a very
It sounds deep. The water is running and Alan is just kind of checking it out, seeing little tweaks and fixes that need to be made. I think it looks amazing, but you have ideas and thoughts, so share with us what you think.
Well, just a couple little things like we always like to do these little trails of water just like nature intended, and it's kind of coming down through. We got one spot we want to seal up there so the water actually comes back across that crevice and comes down into this lower portion. And then down here on the bottom, there should just be a little bit more water running over that threshold. So we're going to foam that bottom up a little bit more. The rest of it, I really like how it's all up in there. It allows you to put some aquatic plants in. We're just, unfortunately, we're about 4 rocks shy down here and just a couple on top, and that's what we're going to touch up tomorrow.
Wow.
So then that way, we'll also pump it out so it's much cleaner, because every time you start a feature, no matter how much you clean it, it's going to look cloudy like this. 24 hours, it all clears up.
It's bright and early the next morning, and the guys have just arrived for final touch-ups, adding those last couple of rocks and making sure that the cords and everything are all buried in some conduit underneath the lawn. Here we go.
I cannot believe that this is installed in our garden in less than 24 hours. It is spectacular. Alan, thank you so much. Walk us through the details.
All right, so this is a pondless waterfall like we talked about many times. One of the nice things about this is all the water storage is self-contained and it's underneath the ground. So for safety reasons, for algae control, all that, it's very easy maintenance. And like I mentioned before, you guys have enough maintenance, so we want to make it as easy as possible. That being said, it has an autofill valve in it, so any evaporation you get, it'll just take it as it needs it. It's only a little 1/4 inch line, so it's not going to take a lot of your water at one time.
Okay.
We got lights in here. We put 3 lights in on the waterfall drops for night viewing. And we also have an iogen, just in case you do get any string algae in the hot sun, it'll kill it off so you don't have to look at any of that unsightly green.
That's amazing. That's going to make it so easy. And I'm already looking at it and thinking, what are we going to plant and where? And the list of plants we have coming in my head is like cycling through, and I'm really, really excited because it looks amazing now, but I can only imagine what it's gonna look like with the trees, with the shrubs, with like the crawling evergreen over this area. What is this area called?
It's actually the pump vault. So
Pump
the water,
hole? Pump
vault,
hole.
vault, like
Pump vault.
V-A-U-L-T.
It's a loud Pondless
Remember the thing that
Waterfall.
looked like a boot?
Yes.
So
It's
that's
gonna
where it
be
is.
stunning. So where can everybody find you on social media? Because I know they're gonna wanna see what you're up to next.
So you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We do some little bit on TikTok. And then you can always find us on our website at deckerspondscapes.com. We try to be everywhere, just like you guys. So
I know. Well, it has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
yeah, thank you for letting us
Really
create it.
appreciate it. Step one of our West Side garden transformation is complete. Special thank you to Decker's Pondscape for installing our Pondless Waterfall. I cannot believe it.
I know, the team worked so hard. There's at least a ton of stone, and there's even some stones throughout the garden that they placed for us, which is so nice. The sound is incredible. We have it set on 2 right now, and they gave us a remote control, so we can turn it all the way up to 10, which turns this into a whitewater rapid situation.
I cannot wait to share with you what we are planting all around this space in our new mixed border and throughout the garden. So please make sure you join us for the season. Click like and subscribe. Again, I'm Eric.
And I'm Christopher.
And we're Grow For Me Gardening.
Thanks for growing with us.
This is our first time seeing it with the lights on at night. What do you think, Christopher?
I'm speechless.
You love a landscape lighting, and you know what? It's something we don't do a lot of in our garden.
I love a landscape lighting moment, and you might notice that we got very excited and did a little bit of planting. There's that versicolor purple flame iris. There's a tiny sweet flag, acarus grass. There's something called moneywort up there. And glowing at the top pool is a blue pickerel. I really love a landscape.
This is really sweet. And then we added in a bench from my grandmother's house so that we can sit and enjoy the Pondless Waterfall.
And there you can see the terrace lighting, which we don't often get to show because we tend not to film at night.